Well, hi. Today is Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. I could use an extra cup of coffee, extra hot this morning, please. It is cold outside once again, and looking back to just the night before last, wind chill factors around the state of Iowa. Up in north central Iowa, there's a community called Hampton. That's in Franklin County, and they hit 42 below zero wind chill. That is just wrong. We are going to be cold for the rest of the week. The weatherman who exists on my phone says we're going to see overnight lows remaining in double digits below zero, and then things are going to turn around rather quickly. Around freezing, just above freezing on Saturday, and then once we go back above freezing on Sunday, the extended forecast says we won't go back below it for a while, all the way to next Thursday. Now, that's pretty far out, so we'll see if it remains accurate. But this cold is not going to stick around very long. The snow that we have is not going to stick around very long. So if you're a kid and like to sled and your mom will let you outside because of the temperature, then you better take advantage of it, because I don't think it's going to stick around very long. Speaking of cold weather, if you're having issues with your furnace or maybe your pipes, then you need to get a hold of AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning and Waldstein Plumbing. They can help you out, take care of things. If it's not working the way that it should, then that's when you want to give these guys a call. You know, when integrity matters, it's the Waldsteins. Travis Waldstein and Hayden Waldstein, they can get you taken care of. So just visit them online, get a hold of them, and they can get things taken care of right away. Also, Foxco Fabrication is a big supporter of everything that we do here on the Morning Coffee, and we love these guys very much. And they're going to be at World of Wheels coming up next month. Over at CHI. So I'm planning on being over there and taking in everything that's going on. Maybe we'll even do a Facebook Live from there. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun? But if you go to foxcofab.com, you can see everything it is that they do. Rick had told us on the show that he was just on last week that he's planning on taking a lot of like man cave signs, garage signs, those kind of things. So you'll be able to take in and see a real world example of what it is that they do. Crossing the fingers, maybe they'll get some of them powder coated, but he said that there's a shoulder injury involved that's holding up the powder coating. So, but at the very least, you can see the metal work that Rick can do. And so that's all going to be at World of Wheels next month. And in the meantime, as I mentioned, go to foxcofab.com to learn more. Coming up very shortly, we're going to visit with Dave Zimmerman. He is the Council Bluffs Market President of Availa Bank. And Dave and I have a great conversation about what it means to live in Council Bluffs and what we hope to see as the city continues to grow, and partnerships with Omaha and things like that, and how you can get involved and how to assist all of that in happening. So that conversation is coming up very, very soon. But in the meantime, we want to remind you that there is an open tryout. This is for the semi-pro soccer team, the CB Captains. And this tryout is coming up February 28th. It'll be from 7 to 10 that evening at the Iowa Sportsplex at 3260 Mid-America Drive in Council Bluffs. With your registration fee, you will get a free T-shirt. Pre-registration is $40. Day of is $60. So you're going to want to make sure that you get pre-registered. Just go to the CB Captains Facebook page. It's really easy to find, and all the information is available up there. Also, coming up next week on Wednesday, February 26th, you are invited to a lunch and learn with the Mills County Chamber of Commerce, and Kelsey Rollins from Sprout Marketing Solutions will be speaking and helping you grow your business online. You can learn social media best practices, also get a free video business card, a free headshot, have an opportunity to network with fellow entrepreneurs and community members. Cost is just $20 for non-members. If you are already a member of the Mills County Chamber of Commerce, it is included with your membership, so no extra fee. It's all going to be in Glenwood at Keg Creek Brewing Company. That's at 17 North Vine Street. Dave Zimmerman is the Council Bluffs Market President for Availa Bank and joins us this morning on Morning Coffee. Thank you much for your time, sir. We picked the coldest week of the entire winter season to do this, but fortunately we're both inside and we don't have to wear our coats. It's cold outside.
It is cold, no doubt about it.
But at the same time, this is I think it ties into what we want to talk about today, because both of us have chosen to live here. Both of us support what's going on in Council Bluffs, and both of us want to see the community grow and continue to grow. And that's kind of the topic of what we want to talk about today. And I know that you have been very big in getting involved in the community, whether it be from the chamber or other organizations that you've been a part of. So wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, of just why it is that this place in this part of the world is where you have chosen to call home.
Sure. Well, my wife and I both were born and raised in Council Bluffs. So it's been our home our entire lives. She was a TJ grad. I was an AL grad. So crosstown rivals, but we met up and found out we're pretty compatible. So been married for a long time. And, we've got 4 kids. We chose to raise them here as well. Council Bluffs is a community that offers a lot. Everybody said it for years and years, and I have too. And as we talked to the other day, it's the biggest little town in the state, and I hear that oftentimes because people recognize it. People in town here that a lot of small towns feel. So we've got some larger town amenities. Certainly with the Omaha area, there's a lot of things that we can get to pretty quickly. But in Council Bluffs, we have a lot to offer as well. We've seen a lot of growth. We've seen a lot of different types of industries come in. So as I think about this is where we choose to live, growing up and raising our children, well, I'd also like to live here as I retire. So it's not just where do I want to live, to work and play, but I'd like to retire here. I'd like to see my family continue to grow up here. Of course, kids may come and go. I've always encouraged them, if you go away to college, I'd like to see you come back and be a part of the workforce. But to do that, it takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of effort too. The community doesn't just grow on its own. There's a lot of people that put a lot of time, a lot of effort. They volunteer a lot to help Council Bluffs grow in different ways. We've got great leadership in this community in a variety of places. And I think as long as everybody stays focused on what can I do to help grow, then we'll do very well and continue to be very successful. We've got to stay away from detractors, and want people arguing and fighting over who gets props on one day or another. And I think we don't have a problem with that. And as long as we continue not having a problem with that, Council Bluffs got a very bright future.
I agree completely with that. And I've said it so many times on this show about focusing on the positive. And that doesn't mean ignoring the negative. Of course, if there's problems that need to be solved, then we work on those problems. Right. But by putting a focus on what is actually going well, then we see those things a little bit easier. We tend to draw to us what it is that we pay the most attention to. And that, I believe, is where this community has been heading for a while and is continuing to head. That because there's so many good things going on in Council Bluffs right now, and there's so many different pieces together. I mean, we have a really, really good secondary education in Iowa Western that is here. We have a number of different places that are in your industry. The restaurants are. Once upon a time, it wasn't really all that long ago that you didn't see individually owned restaurants around very much. And now there's a lot more of those. There's more retail shops, all of these different things. And this is the type of thing that means, okay, we have a robust and growing community.
I agree. And you nailed it. When a problem does arise, you've got 2 choices. We can complain about the problem, or we can problem solve the problem. Right. So problem solving is a way to go, and focusing on the things that are going well and continuing that momentum is important. There are so many agencies in town trying to do things to address issues or to promote continued growth in different areas, and finding ways to get involved is something that anybody can do. You don't have to be, in the business community. You can be in a variety of areas and find ways to, plug in. When I first kind of got into banking, it's like, well, I'd like to give back in some way. And it started in, like youth soccer coaching and coaching youth sports. So I did that. I got involved with the YMCA. How can we, What does the Y got going on? How can they do things that are better? So when you look at opportunities to volunteer and get involved, there's so many places need help. So if anybody's watching this and you're trying to figure it out, just reach out and they'll probably be able to find a spot for you.
I'm also encouraged by the renovation that we're seeing with some of the more historical places because, let's be honest, Council Bluffs lost a lot. We lost a ton of history that you go back to the mid 20th century and everything was just kind of falling to pieces and it became just way too expensive to try to rehab anything. So went through what would they call it? Urban renewal? Is that what it was?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were calling it back then. But now, we're like the Cohen building, which has recently just been redone and that's been saved. And you see some of the different things going on Main Street, South Main and things that are coming back. And I think hanging on to that to me is also a big part of it.
Oh, definitely. Think about the Pace building, what they've done down there, the old library, which is Union Pacific Museum. Unbelievable, what they do in there, and are continuing to try to keep that, which I believe is the only free museum in Council Bluffs. They continue to grow that, and they have the collection from the entire Union Pacific Corporation in there. So a great way to learn with your kids. Some kids don't want to learn history, so you walk them through a museum and learn a little more. Then even the building that we're in here was the old nonpareil, and we renovated that. It sat vacant for years and years, and it takes a little bit to take a newspaper and turn it into a bank, but we're able to do that. The Cohen building is beautiful, and that addresses a problem, right? A problem is housing in town. So to do that, you got retail space and you've got apartments. So what the Chamber and 712 are doing are amazing in town, and other partners too. But keeping those old buildings and some history alive with it and repurposing those, I think is great because then you've got multiple generations that get to experience, the architecture, the beauty of it, and in different ways too.
Well, another thing, too, is with the different service organizations. And what I find very encouraging is they're actually doing stuff. It's not just a chance to, get together once a month and sit around and drink coffee or drink whatever it is they're drinking. But that's not what it's about. They're actually doing things inside of the community, reaching out, helping the kids. I've, talked with the Optimists more than once about different things that they're doing and programs that they have. There's so many of those organizations in town, and this community is very, very good at supporting those organizations. When we were down at the Chamber annual meeting, look at the turnout from that. Look at everything that was going. Yeah, it was tremendous. Yep. And we're starting to see businesses see value here, that they're coming from other places and wanting to be a part of the Chamber too. And then that next step is they're going to be bringing more business here. You mentioned the housing. That is an issue that we have going on right now. We don't have a place to put everybody, but I think that's a good problem to have. We just need to work on it.
It is, and if we can solve it and continue to find different ways to attack it, because it's not one thing; it's multiple parts. But if we can continue to do that, Council Bluffs have an opportunity to grow the total number of folks in town. We've been sitting, at 63 to 65,000 for 20 plus years, and I think even a little longer. It would be great to see the community grow even further. Let's get to 70, 75,000. Gets us a little more of a say, I think, within the state legislature as we continue to grow. But people are starting to realize that it's a little easier to get to amenities that Omaha may offer from the Council Bluffs side, come from Iowa, much lesser of a drive. So if we can continue to get that word out and grow in that way, bring in some implants from Nebraska or people looking to locate and come over here, they'll maybe understand how great the Hawkeye State is, and in particular Council Bluffs. So, and
you bring up something that is kind of it's not unique to every part of the country, because there are border communities, on a lot of states. However, with Council Bluffs and Omaha, a lot of similarities, but also there's a lot of differences. And, what happens here is decided in Des Moines, where you drive 5 miles across the river, and what's happening over there is decided in Lincoln. So there's a big difference with that, but yet we still need to coexist. We still need to support each other. And I have a little sign hanging, over my shoulder back here. It's a little wire. It says and it's there for a reason, because I do not believe life is either or. Life is and we can incorporate all of this into it. But, and there's always going to be some natural rivalry, but sometimes things can go a little bit too far. And, we've both experienced that. And I've always mentioned to people that, if you've got a negative view of Council Bluffs, I'm pretty sure you haven't been here for a little while, because right. I'll bring you over. We'll get a cup of coffee. I'll take you on a driving tour. I'll show you what's here. And I think that your opinion's going to change.
Yeah. Well, and there, it's easy to see, maybe what some of the differences are, but the opportunities that we have to work together are continuing to increase. And I think, I see a renewed, with Heath Mello as the chamber CEO in Omaha, he wants to work with Council Bluffs, and he's been vocal about that too. So I think there's opportunities there. Certainly there's a lot of discussion with getting the rail system over, so we can get, I think from the hospitals in Omaha all the way through Council Bluffs on 2nd Avenue. There's some minimum around that. Council Bluffs is kind of already built to potentially have that with the rail that we had there. So that's a great opportunity to collaborate, with Omaha and Council Bluffs, and provide, easy transportation and hopefully additional economic development as well.
What about at Availa Bank? Because I know that a big part of what Availa Bank does is giving back into the community. You've got programs in place in order to be able to do that. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that philosophy with the company that you are involved with, that believes in communities, not just here, because they're in a lot of places around Iowa, but they do support what's going on right where in the place that they call home.
Sure. Well, one thing that Availa has always believed in is giving back to the community. We have to support the communities that we do business in. We want our customers to be successful. If they're successful, then we are successful. So we really focus on making sure that we've got an employee base that understands banking, understands finance, and has a good experience level built. I kind of went through and looked, and our Council Bluffs employees have 238 years of banking experience. So when you look at, we try to be experts in what we do. We work very hard on it in education as well. But then we want to use that experience and put it into motion in the community. So last year, we gave $38,500 out in donations and sponsorships to support organizations in the community. But it's more than dollars. We also have 513 hours of community service that we gave in 2024 to organizations. So we try to provide the expertise that we have and help that in some of these organizations. So, not always, but most of the time, if I'm joining a board, hey, Dave, you want to be the treasurer? Sure. It maybe syncs up a little bit with, numbers and
listen, I get the same thing as like, hey, do you want to be the communications director? They see me with a microphone and think, oh, you must have skills there.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned that to our employee group. I'm like, okay, if you're interested in joining this board or that board, just know that you're going to continue to use your numbers there as well. And that's how we can give back and maybe provide some guidance, provide, maybe structure where there hasn't been. A lot of times what we'll see is maybe some of the ways that they're accounting for their books, or some things that we can provide a little feedback. Maybe there needs to be more checks and balances, or consider this or that. So that's how we try to give back. Of course, we don't focus only on that, because bankers do other things than just numbers. That's what we're maybe known for. But try to provide within our expertise other areas for that organization. But I'm super proud of our group. We really get out. We get involved in different events that go in after hours. But we try to really focus on the nonprofits in the community, because they don't have the funding, that a for-profit does. They rely on the community to support itself. So if we can provide, 20 or 30 hours a month of free labor to help in one way or another, it goes a long ways. So we really try to focus with that as well.
Yeah, if you take a look, and you can just look at the chamber membership in the nonprofit category, how much is here. There is so many different organizations, and sometimes it's just one or two people, but they're doing work, and what they are working on is something that they're passionate about. And fortunately, we have other organizations that are designed to be able to filter things into them.
Sure.
And it's that part of it, I think, here is really well defined and well put together, among some of the best places in the state, I would say.
I agree. And we've got some great agencies that assist. Iowa West has done great work in our community, and they've changed how they're doing that great work. And the community has been able to adjust, adapt to try to keep things progressively moving to better the community. So not only do you have a large funder like that, but you've got a lot of others, a lot of the for-profit agencies in town and businesses in town support each other. We're not a community where you've got somebody who's successful and they keep all the money that they're making to themselves and never give back. I don't know. I can't think of anybody in the community I think of that is that way. If they're successful, they're trying to give back in some way, whether it's their time, of some of the, within their budget, something that they can contribute. And that's something where that's a small townness, if that's a word, small townness. That
if it's not, it is now, and we're gonna get it copyrighted.
But that's what we feel, in a community of 500, you see that, right? And you see that in Council Bluffs too, the support, the leg up. Hey, we want to help you get better too, and really that that growth mentality that a lot of folks have. I think we apply that to the community itself, or I see momentum going that way anyway, with trying to get there. So let's all have a growth mentality. How can we be better tomorrow than we were today? And what plans can be put in place to help ensure that happens?
In my chosen industry that I'd made a career out of for so long, I see all of that in that small townness you're talking about, that it is different. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but in a large metropolitan area in a city, and I think Omaha qualifies into this, that people can be proud of being from Omaha, but it's not, they don't identify it the same way that they do in a smaller community. And it works for the smaller towns in Nebraska too. The smaller communities feel that way. And even, something that's, I look at Bellevue a lot the same way that I look at Council Bluffs, because when I'm in Bellevue, they want to be identified as from Bellevue, not from Omaha. There's a community feel in Bellevue, past, what you see in a larger metropolitan area. And I think that's what sets us apart. And for businesses who understand that difference, I think that they can thrive in both swimming pools there. But if you try to do something one way, like if you try to do things the way Council Bluffs does and you take it to Omaha, I don't think it's going to be as effective. And vice versa. It doesn't work the other way either.
Right. You've got to know your community, and there are certain things that are going to work a little better in one versus another, just because the makeup is a little bit different. People are individuals, and as the individual groups grow, there's a sense of maybe pride, that I've never, and I'm glad, I don't know many people that do, and that's always obviously a good thing, but I've never said I'm from Council Bluffs with my head down. I'm from Council Bluffs and very proud of it. Sometimes you hear folks kind of say that, where I'm from such, you probably never heard of us, we're from such and such. It's like, no, hold your head up high from where you're from, and our community does that. We've got our rivalries, sports rivalries and that, between high schools and such. And I think as a young person, maybe you grow out of that. It's fun to have those, but ultimately, it's fun to be part of a community that can have multiple high schools, that can have multiple things like that, and be happy of it, about it. And I think our school system does a good job of that. I think our media sources do a good job of promoting that in the right way, a positive outlet. You can battle and still come out with everybody looking good and sounding good, and And I know you're a part of that with your career. You've done a lot of those things and stayed positive through it. And I think we do a good job in the community of doing that too.
Yeah, I've always, one of the greatest compliments that I ever received during my sportscasting days was, this was a lot of years ago, and I'm over in Pella back when Kyle Korver was a sophomore in high school, and I'm calling Korver's games back then. And the high school basketball coach, his name was Mark Corr. And Coach Corr, during their award ceremony, just thanked me, and he said, "You never forgot that these are kids. That these are not professionals. These are not guys that at the time, not going for shoe deals and things like well before NIL." And I took that as one of the highest compliments because these young people that are such a huge part of this community, and we've got 4 major high schools here, and then you add in Heartland, who does a lot of they play over at St. Albert, or sometimes they have their own sporting. So they are. It's a cliche to say that they're the future. However, we need to protect this part of our community in order to make them, as you said earlier, want to be here. And you want your kids to say, go out, experience the world, but come back here because there's just so much to offer. And I think another thing, we're good at that, doing that here too. You look at all the different, whether it be soccer or the football that's played. I'm thinking about the fields that are over there off of I forget what street that's called.
Down by 24th Street, the soccer, football,
and all of that. And you see, those are full on the weekends. Every field out there is full, and the parents are all lined up, and hard to find a parking space. And that's a good sign of what's happening.
Our youth sports program, it's unparalleled. For a community our size to have the field house and the soccer complex and the baseball fields, unbelievable. There's wrestling that goes on, the indoor soccer where they use it for a variety of things. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. If I had saw this when I was 15 and looked to see what our community has today, it's mind blowing. So much progress. And if we continue to grow and continue to have places to work for these kids when they come back from college and bring those things that they learned from college back to Council Bluffs because we've got jobs for them, that's where the community investment and development economically is so important, and why the city and the chamber and they work together to try to get these things done is important. That keeps the kids coming back, because you hate to see them graduate, leave, and never come back, except Thanksgiving, right? We want that talent to remain here.
Exactly. Well, Dave, I could talk to you about this for hours, and the list that we just barely scratched the surface. There's so many more things that are positive that we have here, and these are what we want to highlight. These are, I've said again many times, you want negative, you got plenty of outlets. That's not what this show is. That's not what the folks that are coming on and supporting it are about. We're about what's happening that's positive, and then continue to grow that. So very thankful to have you be a part of this, to have you come on the show and talk just a little bit about some of the wonderful things that are happening in Council Bluffs. And I'm looking forward to future conversations with you.
Appreciate it, Todd. Thanks a lot.
As we mentioned earlier, it is going to remain cold for the rest of this week, all the way into Saturday, and then we're going to start to see a little bit of a turnaround, things warming up. And it wasn't that long ago, I actually saw rain in the forecast for next week. It's supposed to get up near 50 degrees again. Can you believe that when we're this cold right now? So if you have to be outside, please bundle up and make sure that you've got all the emergency kits with you. If you're going to be out and about in your car, it's just better to be safe than sorry. As I remember my dad used to tell me, it's better to have it and not need it than to not have it and need it. So just prepare. And I know I saw the mailman out walking around yesterday, and boy, I felt bad for him. It had to have been really, really cold. And they've been holding off on some trash collection too, trying to get us through this cold weather. So just everybody hunker down, maybe make some soup. Leave me a recipe. I could use a new soup recipe. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this morning's episode. Thank you so much for being a part of things. And we have another great episode coming up again tomorrow morning. I'm Todd Studer. Have a great Wednesday.